Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the last and final movie in the DCEU as we know it, and I have some thoughts. So let's talk about it. Hello, my name is Diamond, aka Lady Leo. I am a lover of all things nail polish, TV shows, movies, all sorts of things. My hope is that you come to my channel, find something that you like, and hit the subscribe button because I would love to have you. So, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the last movie from the DCEU, which has been going for 10 years at this point. So, this is the last in this sort of version of their shared universe because it's going to get rebooted by James Gunn, which I feel like is going to be super interesting, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. So, I just want to talk about generally what I got out of this movie, which I thought was kind of just okay bad. You know, I feel like I hold movies that I like the first of to such a high esteem that when I see a sequel that disappoints me, it makes it even worse for me. Like, even if the movie itself isn't that bad, because I loved the first one, I'm so disappointed in the sequel. Like Wonder Woman and how I feel about Wonder Woman 1984. I kind of hate that movie, and it took me a long time to say that out loud because I'm just like, I like Gal Gadot so much, and I like Wonder Woman, but I hate that movie. And that's kind of how I feel about this movie. Let me explain. The Lost Kingdom is the follow-up to the 2018 Aquaman, also directed by James Wan, still stars Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, Amber Heard, Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Yes, that's what my notes say. And then it also has a really great supporting cast. You know, you have Nicole Kidman, I believe Tamora Morrison. I don't know what his last name is offhand, but yes, they're in the movie as well, but they're, you know, supporting cast. I was just trying to get the main cast out of the way. This movie is just, it's kind of all over the place. I don't even know. I mean, I do know how to describe it because I wrote it down in my notes, but it's kind of a mess. So you've got like the buddy cop element which is probably the best element of the movie between Patrick Wilson and Jason Momoa, of which Patrick Wilson is hands down the best person in this movie. And then you've got the revenge story arc with Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who plays Black Manta. Sorry. They call him David in the movie a lot because apparently that's his name, but like, I'm just gonna call him Black Manta. I'm not calling him David. Anyway, so you've got that. So it's his revenge arc because, you know, Arthur killed his father. He didn't really kill his father. He just didn't save him. You know what I mean? There's a difference. And his dad was like, they were both pirates. So I'm just saying, did your dad deserve to be saved, Black Manta? He didn't. But, you know, he holds a grudge. So he wants to destroy Aquaman for that reason. And I guess it's his revenge arc, but then he's being controlled by the guy who is Atlan's brother, who is the king of Necris, which is the Lost Kingdom. I don't know, make of that what you will. Anyway, so you've got that story going on. You've got Arthur being the king of Atlantis, which apparently he doesn't want now. It's news to me. But I guess he wants it at the end of it. So, and realizing that being a king is boring, but most of the time he spends on land anyway. Sorry, this is a side tangent which has nothing to do with what I'm going to get into in a minute, which is the movie. But I'm super surprised that Atlantis would even want him to be their king, considering like how biased and prejudicial like Atlantis comes off as it relates to the surface world. Like, they don't even want to make themselves known to the surface world because there's this whole council that Arthur has to go through anytime he wants to make any kind of changes in Atlantis, and they completely shoot him down when he's like, we should make ourselves known to the surface world, and they're like, no. So the fact that they accept Arthur, who is a half surface dweller, half Atlantean, as their king so readily, well, maybe not readily, because I guess the story picks up 4 years after that, but it's just interesting to me that they're like, yeah, we want to lock Orm up, but like, that they would be like, yeah, we want Arthur to be our king. Somebody who's previously was never in Atlantis, didn't even know it existed, didn't even know what he was in relation to Atlantis. I mean, but I mean, these are the same people that sentenced Queen Atlanta to death because she went off and had a kid. I'm sorry, Atlantis sounds hella cutthroat. I'm not laughing that they sentenced Queen Atlanta to death. I'm just saying, like, they go hard. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting so off topic. Okay, I'm back on the description of this movie. So, like I was saying, so you have the buddy cop element of it between Patrick Wilson. Sorry, I'm just gonna say Orm and Arthur, which is definitely the best part of this movie. I'm not gonna lie though, I found Jason Momoa to be so annoying in this movie. And it's a combination of like his dialogue, but like him just acting like himself. I don't know how to describe it, right? Because like I feel like Jason Momoa was very much himself in the first movie, either too. But the dialogue wasn't filled with like pop culture references as every single sentence. And then I looked and I saw who was the writers on this movie. James Wan and Jason Momoa both have writing credits. There's two other people too, but like really I was like, oh, Jason Momoa was like, I need more lines that are like stuff that I would say. But it feels interesting for Arthur to have so many of these sort of pop culture lines, and I just found him to be kind of annoying throughout this whole movie because I'm just like, are these things that he would know? Like, is he reading Harry Potter that he knows about the Prisoner of Azkaban? I don't know. Maybe he does read Harry Potter. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, but he's just so annoying in this movie to me. I'm just like, ugh, okay, whatever. That's why I said like Patrick Wilson is the best part. So let me see if I can summarize the entire plot of this movie in 5 minutes or less. Mainly because I wrote it down on my notes and I want you to hear it. So let's go. This picks up about 4 years into the future from my understanding. So this picks up 4 years into the future, and then there's like a 5-month time jump in the movie almost immediately. So anyway, picks up 4 years into the future. Aquaman's king of Atlantis. He married Mara, and they have a kid. Honestly, I would be so curious to know how the politics of Atlantis work, because Mara was betrothed to Orm. So can you just take that betrothal? I don't know. I'm just sort of interested. Like, she was betrothed to Orm. She's like, nah, we're not getting married. I mean, he is in prison, to be fair. And then she gets married to Arthur. Neither one of them spend much time in Atlantis, because every time we see them, most of the time, they are on land with their child. Which also, Arthur is the king of Atlantis. If they wanted to spend this much time on land, which is their prerogative, are you saying that a king and queen who also just had a baby, so that's the royal heir, they don't have any protection on land? Sure, they can defend themselves. I'm just saying, like, nobody goes with them. They don't have a royal guard. Apparently not, because nobody's with them. I'm just saying, like, I just would love to understand how royalty works in the Lost Kingdom, because if somebody wanted to murk them, they ain't got no guards. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so as Jason Momoa is giving sort of his voiceover, I'm definitely not going to finish this in 5 minutes, considering I keep adding to it. Anyway, so as Jason Momoa is doing his opening voiceover, he seems, at least tonally, to indicate that he doesn't really like being the king of Atlantis. And I'm thinking, then why did you take the job? You could have just been like, Mom, can you rule? Because she's the one that's in Atlantis, it seems. So it seems like maybe she rules in proxy when he's not there. You could have just given it to your mom until you wanted to take over. Or just, if you don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just interesting to me. So after we get that intro from Jason Momoa, we cut to Black Manta, who is looking for something. I don't think he was looking for Necris or the Trident. I can't remember. I've only seen this movie once and I refuse to see it a second time. But he was looking for something, and it seems like he stumbles upon the Black Trident via Randall Park, who plays a scientist in this movie, and I genuinely don't remember what his name is. So Randall Park finds whatever they were looking for in Antarctica. They get attacked by a kraken, which doesn't make sense because they have to go through this underwater passage later on. So like, how's the kraken so far above the water? Whatever. Anyway, long story short, he ends up getting the Triton, which corrupts him because it's somehow linked to Atlan's brother, whose name I don't recall, who's the king of Necris. And he wants to... I actually don't know what his motivation is. He wanted Black Manta to get the Orochico, so that he could accelerate global warming so that he could take over the world? I don't actually remember why he wanted to be set free. It doesn't matter. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let me actually look at these notes that I spent so much time writing. So anyway, Black Manta gets the Black Trident, and now he is controlled by Necrus King. I'm just going to call him the Night King. So he's controlled by the Night King, who somehow gives him a ship and people to operate it, because where did those people come from? Does Black Manta have money that we don't know about? I mean, I thought him and his father were pirates, but were they also like millionaire pirates or something? Because he's got this whole crew we didn't have before to operate this ship. And did the Night King give them instructions? Because the ship is very old and it doesn't look like it has any instructions, but they somehow managed to learn how to work the ship. Oh, wait, yeah, sorry, I forgot about the 5-month time jump. This is where the 5-month time jump comes into place. Wait, does it come into place before or after Manta finds... No, it comes into place before, because 5 months he's accelerating global warming with the Orochico. So he runs out of that, the Orochico. Is that what it's called? It's, or Cluco. No, what did I write down? Orichalcum. Sorry, it's called Orichalcum. Something with like 10 syllables. Is that 10 syllables? Orichalcum. It's only 4. Anyway, so he has run out of that and he needs more of it so that he can burn it to continue to accelerate global warming. So they keep the rest of it in Atlantis, but it kind of, where did he get the beginning part of it to start burning it? Was there some on this mysterious ship that the Night King gave him? I don't know. It's not germane to the story. Anyway, so he's got to break into Atlantis to get the Orichalcum so that he can just burn it. He pretty easily breaks into Atlantis. So Atlantis, you got to step your game up. You know what I'm saying? Like the first movie, him and Mera were able to get over the wall past the hydro cannons. And now you got somebody who's got a much bigger ship than they have, able to get through Atlantis in like 10 minutes, I'm just saying, to get to your secret vault, and they got away. Just saying, Atlantis, if I were you, the security has to be stepped up. So anyway, they get what they need, and then they get away. What happens after that? I don't know. Let me check my notes. I don't remember what directly happens after that, but... Oh, wait, no, they break out Orm. Did I forget about that? Why do I not? Oh, I did. I just wrote it very shorthand. Okay, sorry. I'm not doing a great job of this. Anyway, so they get what they need, and Arthur's like, well, fuck, I gotta figure out how to find Black Manta, because I don't know where he could be. But, like, Atlantis is only one kingdom. There are multiple kingdoms. Can you not ask the other kingdoms? Can you not, like, send your waves out to the other sea animals and ask them? Is that not easier than going out to break Orm out of prison? Or you could just go and ask Orm, because he goes to get Orm, which I'm going to get to in a second. And Orm is like, I don't really know where he is. We got to go somewhere else to find somebody to tell us where he is. Kind of defeats the point of like breaking Orm out of prison. But anyway, so he's like, I got to break Orm out of prison, but he did kill the Fisherman King, which is true. So I can't be affiliated. So he gives them this really interesting suit that camouflages him for like a minute. Just has those lying around in Atlantis. So what else happens? Okay, Orm is being kept in a desert prison that looks strangely like the set of the Deserter Kingdom, which is different than the Lost Kingdom. Because the Deserter Kingdom was also set in the desert. But he's able to break Orm out of prison, who are being held captive by some skeletal people that feed on blood. Were they Atlanteans? I don't know. It's not important. Anyway, so they break Orm out of prison, and there is a beach attached to this desert. Is there a beach attached to a desert somewhere? I guess I've never seen a beach attached to a desert. Maybe it exists somewhere, but like, it's just, to me, like, I'm watching the movie and I'm just like, wow, there's a convenient water supply there. So they get in the water and, you know, they're arguing back and forth, and basically Orm takes Arthur. I mean, he is Aquaman, but I'm just gonna call him Arthur. Takes him to this pirate cove thingy with the outlaws out that nobody knows about, so that he can basically ask somebody to tell him where Manta is, because Orm didn't actually know. And so he's on this mutated island. So they go to the island of Lost Dreams, and I they don't explain how the orichalcum is able to mutate this island, or how it could happen so quickly, or if this island already existed with these kind of creatures that are just like 10 to 20 to 100 times the size that they should normally be, and these vicious carnivorous plants. They don't explain any of that. They get to the island, they have some hijinks. Arthur forces Orm to eat a cockroach by telling him it's a delicacy. Comedy. More pop culture references. And then they get to Black Manta. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. They get to Black Manta. They have a fight. Do they fight with Black Manta? Well, they fight with the lady in the thingy first, and then they defeat her, and then they fight with Black Manta. Also, they mention multiple times that Black Manta, or they seem surprised that he's able to do this without his power suit, and I'm genuinely confundeled, because what he's wearing kind of looks like his power suit, like the suit that he had on in the first movie. So I don't understand how this is somehow different than the suit that he had on before, and he's still able to do the laser eye thing. So like, am I missing something? Is there a different type of suit that he has? And I wouldn't say anything normally, but they make a point of saying it like a couple of times, of just being like, yeah, how is he able to do this without his power suit? And I'm like, are we missing something? Is this a different suit than the one he had in the first movie? It looks the same to me. Maybe like a little bit of a slimmed down version, but other than that, it looks the same. It doesn't matter. They lose again. So ultimately, they do not get Manta, and he gets away on his ship because they have this sonic cannon, which Arthur only figures out how to defeat in the finale. Gotta have that opposition. Shoot, I forgot there's like the whole side plot with Randall Park, whose name I forget, where he's a good doctor who got involved somehow with Black Manta because he wanted to see Atlantis, but he didn't want all of this. And I'm just like, okay, so he's trying to do the right thing. It's ultimately not important, but I thought I'd mention it for people that care. Also, I forgot to mention, sorry, why do I write down notes when I just talk off the dome anyway? So I forgot to mention, while they were fighting Manta the second time, so while they were fighting Manta on the island, Orm picks up the trident, and he has a vision of the past. He understands what the name of the Lost Kingdom is, and he sees what happened with it. And so apparently the Lost Kingdom is named Necris. They were using orichalcum, excuse me. They were using that for nefarious purposes or something. And basically the other kingdoms were like, it's poisoning the world, so we got to stop doing it. And the Lost Kingdom didn't want to do that. And so they fought with Atlan, because apparently all the most important things about Atlantis' history are specifically tied to this very specific king, which lived thousands of years ago. But okay, anyway, so Atlan wins, and he uses blood magic, which exists, I guess, as it relates to our seafaring friends, to seal Necris in ice, but not before the king uses the magic to turn all of his citizens into monsters. Yeah, he did that, and then Atlan sealed him away, because the best way to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself is to literally bury it in ice and exclude it from your history, which is what Atlan does. You know what I mean? He's just like, yeah, that kingdom didn't exist. So much so that people didn't even know the name of the kingdom. He's like, I don't want people to know about you. Or even that the king was Atlan's brother. Ugh. Anyway, I just really want to get to the finale because I'm getting tired. So, before I get to the finale, I did want to mention that, what's her name? Amber Heard is in the movie. She's only in the movie for like 12% though, so I wouldn't get too upset if you didn't want to see her. And only half of the time does she actually have any dialogue. And it's, she's speaking. So, okay, here's my little 2 cents about Amber Heard before I actually like get into the finale. I don't care about her own personal life. I didn't watch her trial between her and Johnny Depp. Although it is very interesting and very difficult to win a defamation trial. So the fact that he did is interesting. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so irrespective of who she is personally, I quite like her as Mara, and I really like the character of Mara. And Mara is a very strong character. So for me, I hate their decision to minimize her role so much because I feel like you feel it more because she's married to Arthur. She's the queen of Atlantis, and they have a child. So I feel like you feel it even more considering that all of those things. And she just kind of disappears off screen for like 20-30 minutes at a time, and then she pops back up, usually silently because she doesn't have a lot of lines, and then she's gone again. I mean, there was a weird thing in the second battle with Manta where he uses the sonic cannon and Arthur gets pinned down from some rock underwater because that's a thing, and then here's Mara coming out of nowhere to pull it off of him. Again, no lines, and then we move on to the finale. Stuff like that. So I just feel like if you're going to go through all this work of like minimizing her so much, why not make it so that it makes more sense story-wise, right? Like if her and Arthur weren't married, or if they were married and she really took it upon herself to stay in Atlantis and they didn't have a child, I feel like there's a couple different ways you can write it so that the fact that she's not prominently in the film makes more sense. But the fact that she's, just not there, even though she's Arthur's wife, she's married, she's also a very capable fighter, and they have a kid, it just makes it weird. It just makes it be like, why is she gone so much? And then, like, when she got injured in the first act, I was like, oh, that's how she'll be out of it. But nope, she's fine. In no time, she's just off screen, because she can only be in the movie for 12% of the time, so... But anyway, we are on to so we moved on to the finale, and apparently Manta has to go back to Antarctica. Let me see. Why does he have to go back to Antarctica? What do my notes say? Okay, yeah, sorry. He has to go back to Antarctica because he went and got Arthur's son, because there's a blood magic spell that's imprisoning the Night King and his kingdom. So now that he's got Arthur's son and the trident, which I think was already in Antarctica, which is where they were in the beginning of the movie, now they're ready to go back so that they can free the Night King. Yes, okay, good, okay. So now we've got the son, we've got the false death of the father, he's not dead. There's a lot of stuff that goes on to the finale, some other fights with some of the other creatures and, Necris's people. Poor people. I feel so bad for them. First of all, they live in the kingdom of Necris, which sounds like death. So I'm pretty sure Necris is in another language for death anyway. So first of all, they live in the kingdom of Necris. So like they're already batting at 0. And then their king morphs them all into these creatures who don't die. They all get frozen in ice. And then they get awakened by their king, and then they get killed, I guess, because he, newsflash, he loses. So a whole fight ensues. Honestly, the best fight of this movie is the fight between Arthur and Black Manta. I quite enjoyed that fight quite a bit. They fight, and the Night King awakens, but he's very easily defeated by Arthur's trident. No real opposition there. And then, Arthur goes to help Mantis because he was about to fall down a cave. He says no and decides to die. Goodbye, Mantis. Manta. I said Mantis. Anyway, sorry. Goodbye, Manta. And the movie ends with Aquaman revealing Atlantis and himself saying that he's Aquaman. And that is Aquaman and the Last Kingdom. Oh, wow. There's actually a lot more that went on in that movie that I realized now that I said it all out loud and I wrote it all down. It's a pretty mess of a movie, and It doesn't really matter though. The DCU is being extinguished as it is going to be rebuilt by James Gunn. Still super interested to see how that's going to work out. And kind of going out on a pretty low note. And I said, for me, I really loved the first Aquaman. I didn't think it was perfect, but like in terms of whether or not I found it enjoyable, I found it quite enjoyable and I liked it quite a bit. So I'm so disappointed in this movie considering, and that's that's the movie. I mean, if you want to see the last movie in the DCU, you can definitely go see it in theaters, but you can also wait and see it at home, and it would be just fine too. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the movie. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited to see where the DCEU is going to go from here? Actually, it's going to be the DCU, which is what I always thought it should be called. I think it's going to be the DCU under James Gunn. So I am incredibly interested to see where that goes. I've also been really enjoying What If, because you'll be getting an episode a day for 9 days. We only have today and tomorrow. So I'm definitely going to talk about What If because I friggin' love this series. So that's been my time. Catch you later. Bye.